This is Coffee and Childhood, the next episode. Today we have four fantastic panelists with us, all moms, all come with a very, very strong professional background. They are managing profession while parenting. And I'm sure that most out here are gonna find some reference, are gonna connect with them with some of their stories that they have to share. And I've had the privilege of personally interacting with all four of them over the last couple of days. Just to tell them about what Kids OK. Please tune in for the first time. It's a basic platform where our mission is give children a very child-friendly city around them and ensure that all of them have a marvelous childhood, which I think is a mission and vision for every parent. So that's the thought that we take forward. Quickly, I want to run you through each and every person who's on the panel today, and we can see that so many more people are joining in. So as they join in, I'm going to quickly introduce our four panelists out here. Let me begin with Harsha Jethmalani Israni. That's our first panelist. She's an assistant editor with HT Media Limited, specifically Mint News. Welcome, Harsha.
Hi, thank you.
We're gonna get to know you as we are going ahead. We have Captain Swati Rawal here. She's a commander and with Air India. We have Dr. Priyanka Hardikar. She's an assistant professor and consultant for ENT and heads neck and neck surgery. She's a for ENT head surgeon at Nair Hospital. Sorry. Yeah, I'll tell you more about what my conversation with to hear about this specific space that she excels in. We have Millie Mukherjee here, the director of rooms at Taj President Indian Hotels Company Limited. So absolutely powerful women here, powerful mothers, powerful parents, let me put it that way. But the reason why we selected this topic was so many parents have written to us, so many people that we've interacted with, they've spoken of how the last 4 months has completely changed their perception, how things are being managed, the value of time, the value of workplace, the balance that one needs to create. Your support system has even got stronger. Whoever it may be, it could be your in-laws, it could be your husband, it could be your wife, it could be anyone around you. And children, I think children have been the bravest of all. They have literally not seen the outside world in the last 3 months. Now 4. We've seen this transition and we're getting ready for the next 6 months and what the world would want to call the new normal. I'm going to ask as part of how we go, each one of you all, start with Millie. If you could just tell everyone who's tuned in right now, who is Millie Mukherjee? What's been the journey like becoming a parent? What is your profession? And what are the key challenges that you've seen? And we'll move on to all the panelists before I throw open other questions. So we'll start with Millie, right?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Kids OK, please. Good evening, Ritesh. And I think it's our pleasure to be here and to share the platform with all rocking ladies here. I'm looking forward to have all these discussion. So my name is Millie. I'm a hotel management graduate. I'm a full-time mother and of course a full-time professional. I work with Taj Group of Hotels. I work with President Mumbai, which is located in Cuff Parade. And I handle accommodations for this hotel. I'm the director of rooms here. I have a 3-year-old princess. I call her princess because her name, Amira, is actually a Hebrew word. And if you see in Hebrew, Amira means princess. And so she's 3-year-old. My husband also works with Taj Group of Hotels. He is director of sales and marketing for this absolutely beautiful hotel, which is located in Andamans. But of course, he is based in Bombay in corporate office. And my journey with, I think motherhood, as when you say motherhood, it puts in, I have always seen that it always puts a lot of limitations in your mind, correct? Whenever you say motherhood, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I think with me, motherhood has never become a limitation. It has never, my daughter was never, she never limited me to do anything. In fact, when I became mother, a lot of things I did after becoming mother. So I just wanted to quote an example. So I was actually, this is a transferable job. I I was in Bangalore prior to this assignment, and of course, I delivered a child, and I was on maternity leave for 7 months, and I was about to join. And when I was about to join, I got to know that I might get transferred to Mumbai. And when you have a 7-month-old daughter, you're moving, and I don't stay with my in-laws. It's a big question in my mind. I always thought, can I do it? Can I not do it? This hotel is a very, very busy hotel. We do 82 to 85% occupancy. So I was really thinking, should I take this right now, or I'm comfortable in Bangalore? And I remember my husband, actually, whatever I am today, it's because of him. He said that when you can become a mother, when you can give a birth to a child, when you can go through that labor pain, why can't you do this? Of course you can do this.
So, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Kids OK, please, to bring me here. I'm Captain Swati Rawal. I have been working with Air India last 2004. And so, I actually got married quite late. That was around 32 years I got married. And then obviously when you want to have kids, it's almost age going time. So of course I became a mother when I was 35. So of course the first challenge when it comes to 35 and you're a mother is when the kids wants to play and you are like, I'm sorry, but I'm a little tired. So that's the first time I felt that yes, I should have had a baby at 27 actually. It would have really helped. But irrespective of that, so yes, when I became a mother at 35, and as Millie said that being a mother is, if we think that it is limited, no, it is not limiting at all. So I can tell you that when I was carrying my baby inside for around 5 months plus, I actually ran to catch a train in Spain. Seriously. Wow. I mean, we went for a week of holiday where we'll just lay down. But my husband was planned so much that my birthday was in Switzerland, and my anniversary falls on 29th December. November, actually, my husband will kill me. November, and my birthday is 3rd December. So once we were in Switzerland, and we traveled a lot, and at that time also I never felt restricted. And after becoming a mother, as Millie said, we traveled with my son also all around. And it actually, my husband does say that for first 6 months, I almost slept for only 4 hours because I'm a little tedious person. I want everything in place. So I would, and being a perfectionist, what happens is you want everything in place, and I want everything to happen correct for my son. I mean, you're first time mother, and you're trying to try possible to make it correct. You have no idea. Even your son, even if your kid is sneezing, you'll feel like, oh shit, there's something wrong or not. He's crying, you don't know whether he's having stomach issues, whether he's having fever, whether he's hungry, he's sleepy, he has spotted. You have no idea, and you are just, trying to just experiment which one is correct for him, and just learning being a mother along with your son or along with your kid. So first 6 months, my husband does say that, I have almost slept for only 4 hours. And when he is sleeping, I'll take care of the rest of things. And when he is awake, of course, I'll spend my time with him. I was more concentrating on him. The basic reason was I knew that I'll have to leave him for flying pretty soon when he'll become around 8 months, 9 months. And of course, we get about 6 months maternity leave either. That is unpaid though. So after that, when I went on flight, that
I think
was
there is. So, Auntie, we're missing most of the things that you're saying because there is network issue at your end. Yeah, now.
okay. Is it clear now? Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So when I went first time on a flight when he was 11 months, I left him for 5 days. My flying takes me out for 5 days to ULR flights, that is to India to US and back. And I still remember I called up at home and one of my friend was there. She picked up the phone and like, is he missing me? And she's like, I really don't know what to say. If I tell he's missing you, you'll feel bad. If I tell that he's not missing you, you'll still feel bad. And I'm like, yeah, bang on. But I will be considerate and feel bad about that he's not missing me, and touch wood. God's grace, as Millie said, even my husband is very, very supportive. And if he wouldn't have been around, I'm sure I wouldn't have left my kid alone to maid and gone on flying. So today again, after second kid also, I started flying after 6 months, and all went well. Of course, we do take help. I really feel that as a mother, we most of the time getting into guilt of not doing enough for our kids.
Hi, and I am a relatively new mother on this panel. My daughter Leisha she just turned 7 months old. So it's been a little challenging initially because everything is new, and because of technology, WhatsApp especially, there is no line between office and home, especially not for me, because the kind of work that I have to do, there is flood of information all the time. There are so many things that I have to take care of while I'm at my job. So it has been a bit challenging for me. But luckily, they say it takes a village to raise a child. For
Absolutely.
me, my village is my family. My in-laws have been extremely supportive. So has my husband been. And one positive point out of this lockdown, for me at least, it has been that I am getting more time with my daughter. And even my husband, otherwise he would not have got a paternity leave, because there are not many companies who believe in giving paternity leave. The system is such that raising a child is primarily a mother's job. So papa kya karenge, wo to office aa sakte hain. So thankfully for me, my husband gets enough time to spend with my daughter. So she's been lucky that way, and there is a lot of support from family as well. So at least what I do is take one day at a time, one thing at a time. And like all of them said that once you are a mother, and also that you've been a full-time professional, you are conditioned to put your best foot forward in everything. And then motherhood, so you have to like go leaps and bounds. So my daughter, she inspires me to do a lot of things which I would not have done otherwise, especially time management. I am still working on my time management skills, because of course you need to give a lot of time to your job as well. And with work from home, you are working all the time. So yeah, that part I am working on, and hopefully things will fall in place as we learn to adjust to this new normal of working from home, managing the child, and giving your best to your job as well. So it has been a great journey so far.
Yeah.
Hopefully things will fall in place eventually, and with a lot of family support, I am managing well as of now.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I am Dr. Priyanka Hardikar. I'm an ENT surgeon, and I also deal with head and neck cancers. So yeah, as you said, I have I finished my studying only at the age of 29. So by the time I got married, I was like 30. And by the time I had my baby, I was almost 33. And so when you're studying and all, it's very difficult for you to even think what it would be to be as a mother, and you were totally confused. The first time, when I conceived, I was like, so confused. People thought that maybe as a doctor, you can handle things better. when you like throughout your antenatal time, and then after you're born, after your kid is born, maybe you were able to understand the kid better. But no, it's not that way at all. I mean, it really took long for the feeling to sink in that I'm probably going to become a mother in the after next 9 months. And as you said, because my job is demanding, like the cancer surgeries I do sometimes go on for like 10 hours and 12 hours. And I continued to do them at least till the 8th month of my pregnancy. After that, I couldn't, sustain it further. So I had to take leave after that. But yeah, even during my pregnancy, I wouldn't say that, carrying a child was any limitation at all. Yes, I felt tired, but then there was still, some sort of energy, and probably I was looking forward to a totally new dimension unfolding in my life. And as it is said that, a child gives birth to a mother. So that is something I have felt, like once my daughter was born, I felt like a completely changed person. I thought that now I can handle more things, multitasking became more easy for me, which, maybe earlier I couldn't do stuff. And I have received immense support from my mother and my husband. So that's the best thing I can say, because, managing profession like mine and handling a kid is really difficult. I mean, even during the pandemic, there was no work from home for me, but I'm enjoying it.
Fantastic, Dr. Priyanka. Question to all four of y'all is, I'll ask each of y'all to respond in whatever you like. What's your most important support system? Who is it? In your personal space, your most important support of your support system, and in the professional space, how is your industry, how is your current workplace supporting this entire bit for you? So I'll start with Harsha and move on to the other panelists. Harsha, would you want to start with how has it been from your the industry or your workplace? How has it supported you during this period? And while you become a parent also, in your personal space, who's your biggest support? What's your support system like? Yeah.
So from as far as industry and office is concerned, thankfully I've got a 6 months fully paid maternity leave, so no complaints there. And even my team, like most of them are parents, so they know how challenging it can be to manage something like a journalism job where you are tracking the stock markets all the time, you're talking to so many people, and while even you're right on something, it has repercussions on larger sections of the society. So you can't afford to make any kind of mistakes when you're writing an article. So that way they always give me that breathing space. Like while others are writing too many things in a day, I have been given a little bit leeway to focus on certain articles or certain sectors and take things gradually, because after a 6 months long gap, again now I'm into the grind again, it will take some time to adjust. So thankfully there are members in my team who are parents and they understand the kind of pressure there is now, especially because of COVID and working from home. And as far as family is concerned, like I told you, like my in-laws have been extremely supportive. And even my husband, he takes care of my daughter while I'm sleeping at night. We take turns. He's there to play with her. And there are my mother-in-law, father-in-law, they take care of my daughter during the daytime while I'm working or while I'm talking on phone, because reporting requires me to talk on phone all the time. And by the end of the day, I'm completely exhausted, left with no energy to talk to anybody. So they take care of my daughter. My brother-in-law takes care of her. We all take turns, but as a family, they've been very keen on, they keep telling me, it's okay, you focus on your career. You've taken a lot of efforts to reach there where you are. So,
same question for you. Your biggest support system in your personal space, and how's your company been helping you throughout your parenting journey?
So, personal space, no doubt, it's my husband. I think, as I mentioned, that whatever I am today, it's because of him. And I feel as a mother, it's very, very important that you have a support system. That support system can be from your in-laws, can be from your spouse, but that support system has to be there. It's very important.
Very
So,
important.
because I work in an industry which is actually a 24/7 industry, I have guests checking in, checking out. every time. There could be emergencies, and I get call every time. So when I know that I have this support, my mind is free. If tomorrow there is an emergency at night, 2 o'clock in the hotel, I don't even have to think twice that, oh God, it's 2 o'clock, I have to go. In fact, the moment I'll tell this to my husband will say, can I drop you? Can I drop you? It gives you so much of relief, which I cannot explain you in words. When you're working in all these things, when you're working, you know that you have to go back. You are staying alone. You have to cook right now. You have a daughter, but you are getting delayed because there is a customer. There's an issue which has happened, and sometimes those stress as a mother, what you get, you go through it, you have to go to home, you have to cook, or you have husband. I never had any of these stress in my life, never had, because my husband, I think, very comfortably managed. And I can tell you that the biggest support I've got, I think, and I thank God that I have my husband to back me up. Professionally, Ritesh, what I feel, yes, my company has supported me, and I'm not sure if you all know, Tata's is a great organization to work for.
Absolutely.
There is something which we are very, very particular about, which is gender diversity.
Of course, I will say again that my support system is my husband, and one of our niece stays with us. God's grace, she actually, gives very good support to the basic requirements when it comes to when the father is not able to do everything. But otherwise, my husband was the biggest support. He's the biggest support, because I'll tell you, he actually says that for my son, elder one, he can actually say that except breastfeeding, he has done everything. And believe me, I have never expected that a man can do such an extent where he will be happy enjoying malishing the baby. We did malish our son till 8, 9 months, 10 months, and he was equally participating in that, even giving bath, or even bathing them, dressing them, nappy, potty, everything. He has done everything except breastfeeding. He can't do that. So he's a very good support, and because of him, I could join back on a given time. And as far as the flying is concerned, I think our company is quite understanding, as and when, like, I'll tell you, my in the pandemic, my flight was planned, and when the flight is planned, we are supposed to do a COVID test. Once it comes negative, we go on the flight. So the COVID test was done, and my daughter fell sick. She had fever, and she had fever the day I came back from the flight, and I did my COVID test for another flight. And we showed it to the doctor, and after 3 days, so I informed the company that she's not feeling well. Doctors are saying she will be fine, but I'm not sure. So I'm just keeping you in advance notice, so that if they need to do someone else test done, because they have to wait for 3 days to get the COVID test results at that time, actually. So eventually my daughter got a reaction from medicine, and she was red all over her body. And eventually I could not go on flight, and believe me, the first reply I got was, don't worry, we are keeping a standby, and let me know by what time you can tell us that you can go or not go. So yeah, company also supports, and I'm glad that other companies, I'm not sure, but Air India is really considerate when it comes to this, I guess.
Tell us, Priyanka, who's your biggest support in your personal space, and as a professional, what's the industry done, and what has Nair Hospital or otherwise been support?
So in my workplace, I would say that my head of the department, she's been extremely supportive. Like during my pregnancy, she used to give me flexibility with surgeries, with working hours. And, even later, after I joined back, after the maternity leave got over, even that time for my feeding sessions, for the baby's vaccinations, everything, she's been really kind to me and helped me out through everything. And at my home front, I would say that my husband and my mother, they've been my biggest pillars of strength. We are a small family. I don't have my in-laws staying with me right now. So during the pandemic, my mother shifted to my place, and we've been staying here. And because my husband is also a doctor, he's a critical care expert, and he has to manage ICUs in the hospital. So he's also been extremely busy. So we've been trying to work out, manage our shifts accordingly, so that we can, at least one of the parent is at home, with my mother to take care of the baby. So it's a tough time for us, and the biggest fear I always have is, whether I just want to keep my family safe, so when I'm coming home, there's a continuous fear that, I'm going to spread the infection to my family, because I'm dealing with COVID patients since the last 3 months now. And I'll tell you, that's the biggest fear. I mean, that is a continuous stress which is there on my mind. And I got infected also in April. I was in the hospital for 11 days, and that was the toughest time, I would say. I mean, I never thought my daughter would be able to stay without me, but my mother and my husband really managed it so well, and I'm glad that that gave me the strength to come out of the illness and recover soon. So yeah, I owe it to them.
No, we all absolutely can understand what you would have gone through as a parent, just being away from your child. I want to bring in here that my biggest support system is of course my better half, because I have twin boys and turned 3, and she is a lawyer by profession, high court advocate, and her company is fantastic, who gives her all the leeway that is required to work from home, balance it, and at the same time focus on the children, while we can work on our respective careers. I'm going to move on to one of the common trend topics that we've spoken of on all our episodes till date. We're seeing a lot of parenting trends, and I'm going to club it as 2 or 3 things that we've heard of, and you can pick the one that you want to comment on really, or something that really talks to or connects with you. Gender neutral parenting. Second is your homeschooling as a trend. And the third one is taking a pressure, which is the larger term, peer pressure, that someone else's child is doing this and is better at it. Why is my child not doing that? And let me put them into a class today only, so that they learn this language, or anything for that matter. These 3 things have come out so strongly. I don't know which one, or maybe all 3 of them, if you have an opinion around that, and what's your thought process. I'm going to start with Priyanka this time. Priyanka, which is this trend, or which is this topic that really connects with you and you have an opinion around and you strongly feel about? And I'm going to move on to the others as well. So Priyanka, can we hear from you?
So I strongly feel about gender neutrality, and I really feel that it should start at home. And it's kids tend to learn what parents do. You cannot tell kids what to do. Instead, it's better that you do it and they learn it from you. You have to be their role models. So in my house, when it comes to doing the household things, it's like me and my husband tend to divide what we're supposed to do. So at times he cooks, at times I just drive him down to some place. We don't have set roles at home. So I expect that when my probably when my daughter grows up, she'll see that both her parents are pursuing their dreams. Both of them they have a passion in life, they are following it. At the same time, they are handling the house really well. It's not that only my mother cooks, my father cooks as well. It's not that one person is doing shopping for the groceries, one person is paying. There's nothing like that. There's no role which it's limited only to a single parent. Yeah. So that's what I would. And also I feel that when you're introducing your child to new things, maybe say toys or anything, you shouldn't be limiting yourself. Like suppose I have a daughter, I'll introduce her only to dolls or something like that. I just take her to a shop and she picks whatever she likes. She might just pick up a car. instead of a doll. Or, you know, like purple might be her favorite color, it might be blue, and it's perfectly fine. You know, that is something I strongly feel. You know, I
Yeah.
strongly feel for gender neutrality.
Well, I'll move on to Harsha. Harsha, same. Which is the topic that you feel, and what's your opinion around that topic?
I think gender neutrality based parenting, because it's too early for me to talk about homeschooling. My daughter is just 7 months old. But thankfully, at least in my house, in my parent-in-law's house, my husband's house, everybody knows how to cook. We all do dishes. And especially now when there was COVID with no maids around, all of us were doing everything. So that part is taken care of, thankfully. But yeah, one thing, yeah, the toys part where people will usually come and give my daughter a kitchen set, I'm not okay with that, because no, if she can do anything. It's not necessarily that she should be good at cooking and cooking is her thing. That thing I want to be sure that it is not fed into her mind. And yeah, that is like the main thing about gender neutral parenting that I have observed. And as far as the pink color is concerned, when everybody got to know that I'm blessed with a daughter, my wardrobe is full of pink clothes. So yeah, that needs to be changed. My daughter has so many pink clothes. Cooking is a skill that everybody should know. It's a survival skill now. We all should know cooking. It's not limited to just being a girl or a boy.
Absolutely. I mean, our kids are going to be going abroad or going to different places
Studying, yes,
where
yes.
they'll need to survive in different conditions. We don't know what it's going to be like. Like
Yes.
we've experienced a lockdown for 4 months. What if they were somewhere else and they were experiencing the same thing? How would they survive? So yes, no job, nothing at all is restricted to a gender, and I completely agree with you. I think that's been a general consensus with parents that gender parenting is important, for which we've advised would be a very strong word. We've always maintained the fact that it starts with parents setting the rules for everyone else within the house and who's going to come in contact with the child, because school is going to be clear about it. We know schools are designed well, but it sometimes happens that family members unknowingly end up saying something to the child, and that leaves such a thought in the child's mind that why did this person say this, and then they start questioning it. And it's very important that the parents set the right example and the immediate family respond to that. It cannot be that if the parent is strict and the respective other family member is going to be overriding what you said and patronizing what the child wanted to do. So
Right, right.
that rule absolutely in place. All the parents are doing it already. Need not say it, but while we respect everyone who's around us, it's very important that the formative years, the first 6-7 years with the children, it's absolutely taken care of.
Because
I'll move on to Millie now. What is the thought? What is the trend? What is the topic that really connects with you, and what is your opinion on the same?
So, Ritesh, the three topics which you said, I think it kinds of, there are two things which comes to my mind immediately. One is traditional parenting. You know, times have changed, and the kind of society we live, where husband is also working and mother is also working, you cannot follow. It's very hard to follow traditional parenting. You know, there's no harm following traditional parenting. Our parents have done it, but uh, those years were very different. Now time is very different. When all of you are working, I think following a traditional parenting is very difficult. Why should it is only a mother's responsibility? Why should it is mother who will cook? Why should it is not father's responsibility? Why should making money is only father's responsibility? Why it cannot be a mother responsibility to understand and to ensure that, you know, we both earn, and we both earn for the child, for the family, and to ensure the child has a better future. So I think we all, you know, what happens is we all, and the other thing which is very important is, because we are talking about gender diversity and all, you know, we all have, there's a lot of preconditioning of our mind happens, you know.
Yes.
Happens with us, it happens with our kids also. So, you know, as a girl, you're not supposed to do that. As a girl, you're supposed to sit like that. as a boy you can shout, but as a girl you cannot shout. So these were told to us. I don't say this is wrong, but times have changed. Now girls have gone ahead, and they are marking their presence in different areas. We have a captain who's sitting here, we have a journalist who's sitting here, we have a doctor who is fighting this situation. So times have changed. We should not precondition our mind, and we should not let our child to have that precondition that I'm a girl, I will only do this. I cannot go out at night because I'm a girl. Yes, we need to be, we need to be cautious about their safety, because the society we generally live in. But I think these two things are very interrelated, and they play a very important role when the child is growing up. They see what their parents are doing. So it makes a lot of difference when my daughter sees me going to work, handling calls, handling this. I understand. And she sometimes tells me, Mama, no work today. I said, no, today is my day off. So she understands that I'm a working. And sometimes as a mother, we all feel guilty, and we all have spoken about it. So sometimes when I say, I'm so sorry, Amira, I didn't give you time yesterday, she says, it's okay, Mama. So they understand. And because everybody spoke about this guilt factor, and I think this guilt factor keeps coming to all the mothers. I also have a lot of guilt, and I sometimes feel, oh God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But once my mother told me something, and she's a housewife, and she said, you just remember.
Yeah, that's amazing actually. Swati, your thoughts around any of the things that we've discussed in the past? Yeah.
Yes, Ritesh. Actually, I would like to talk about all three topics. So when it comes to gender equality, I really feel that, our mindsets were so strong. As everyone talked, girl should do this and a boy should not do this. So we are so much concentrating on a girl should allow to do this, which was not allowed before. In that bargain, sometimes you forget to bring your male child forward. Don't do that. That when we talk about equality, it has to be equal for both the kids. It's not only girl whom you are supporting and getting them ahead. At the same time, the boy should be taught well to respect women, but at the same time, he also should be strong enough to take care of family, the sister, the parents, the wife, everything. So both the responsibilities, I think it is very minute difference between well balanced and emphasizing on only one thing and being just blind minded to the other thing. So I think that one thing everyone should take care of it. And as far as the home teaching is concerned, I think if you can do it homeschooling, if I had an option where I am at home 24 hours and I can take care of my kids, yes, it's a very good idea, because then you are teaching the kid what you want them to learn, and then you can actually figure out what your kids are interested in and what is their choices, not just pushing your stuff, your dreams on them. But at the same time, otherwise, school is a good thing. There is, so now we are talking about peer pressure. I really feel that, okay, I don't know in Bombay if that happens, but in Delhi, I have seen a couple of schools where the parents, okay, if you're getting out of the, so Delhi is big shosha here, okay. So when, I think people are going to hate me for this, but that's okay. So when you are talking about a school, which school you are going, so if you are coming from a good school, well-reputed school, your father, your mother is a pilot, yeah, you are good. If you are getting out of a big car, you are good. And there is a clear discrimination between lower class to a middle class to a very upper high class. I really feel that you should not judge a person on the basis of financial condition or color status, which is not a good idea. I do not want my kids to learn that. And when it comes to peer pressure, the parents not kids, even the parents look at you, oh, you are not sending your kid to any class? Oh, my kid is joining this class, my kid is joining that class, my kid is joining this class. And believe me, I really have come to a point where I do not care. And I think each and every parent should learn this. Not parent, every human being should learn this, to do not care of what other people are thinking, because they are not going to run your life. They are not going to come and help you in your family. You live the way you can, what you like, how you want to pursue your life. Not because someone is doing that or someone is doing that. Let your kid be. They are kids. Just let them be. Let them enjoy. If they are happy with something, do it. Of course, I'm not asking them to be, just be lazed around and all. You give them enough activities, enough trials. At the same time, let them be kids. Don't push them because, okay, his kid is learning French, or this kid is going to badminton, or that kid is learning, Saregama, or there are so many things.
Right.
And my son got gold medal. She succeeded in the French competition. And believe me, if you are saying that, oh no, so when I'm asked sometimes that, so where is your son going? My son is 5. Okay, where is your son is going? And I'm like, no. So they say, what is your son doing? I'm like, he's being happy and playing.
I'm gonna talk about something which is directly related to your respective professions, and these are again going back to the trends which are there. I'm gonna start with Swati again this time. Swati, you're a pilot and you take very long flights. She typically, the sectors that she flies to is US or Europe, and domestically it will be ideally Hyderabad from Delhi. And these long flights are there. I think one of the things we've seen is a lot of learning that takes place for a child is through travel. And we recommend to all the parents who are subscribers or otherwise, we tell them that not just abroad, but just around you. There are museums, there's social infrastructure, leisure infrastructure. Ensure that you're participating with them and seeing the same place. Don't feel that it is too less for your child. Take them on a bus ride. Go with them on a train. There's nothing wrong. Pick a time and day. So, Swati, your thought around traveling, the importance of traveling as a parent. I'm going to come to the other three also regarding profession, that what should the parent take away. Why traveling is extremely important. I know you must be exhausted with all the long flights which are there, but traveling a child, and how does it change the scenario?
So as a child, my father was a forest officer. He's an ex-forest officer, and every 4 years he was being transferred. But from the childhood, what I remember is every summer, my dad used to take us out on a trip of 15 days, month, in 2-3 vehicles, where we have 4-5 families together. South India, North India. I think as a kid, I have seen all India except Kolkata side. And what I have learned to realize is that it widens the horizon for the kid. You learn to understand that it is not always a comfortable life. You learn to understand, to accommodate yourself in a different situation. Sometimes you face a couple of things where things are not correct. Like once we went to South India, that time that Rajiv Gandhi bomb blast had happened, and we were stuck in a small place for 2 days because there was totally shut. They had shut down everything and there was no traveling. And so something like that, which makes you understand that nothing works as per plan. You have to learn to adjust and improvise depending on the situation, circumstances, and you learn very practical approach of life, which is like, see, if I know basic mathematics or basic English or basic Hindi or basic language knowledge, this is part of my knowledge. I would not like to make my son learn bookish. You know, it is more of an application, and you learn to apply things. It's
So
very, very
Swati,
important.
I would want to take the largest takeaway from what you said. Life experiences will only become better when your child is traveling with you. They're going to see the world on their own, but travel with you. They're not just seeing the most expensive hotels or the Disneylands of the world. It's what's the real life which is going to really shape them. So I think we'll take that as a takeaway. What Captain Swati has to say. I'm going to move on to Harsha. What I want to know and what I want you to tell the parents is how important is it in terms of savings and financial planning from a parent's perspective, or investing in the right places, not just for your child, not just for yourself, but overall as part of what we are doing.
Like you said, the piggy bank part, I come from a family, like from my father and my grandfather, they were totally into the stock markets. I've learned a lot of things from them. And when I was a child of about 4 or 5 years of age, they bought me a piggy bank, which I still have. So whatever money that they used to give me on birthdays or say on Diwali, all used to go in the piggy bank. And eventually my father used to take me to the bank. He taught me how the fixed deposits work, how insurance work. I learned a lot from my father. So I think it's very important to tell your child the importance of savings right from the beginning. That is what I plan to do with my daughter: buy her a piggy bank and tell her how to save. Not only save, we have to also set examples in terms of spending. Like we do a lot of things that we buy are not required. All of us do that, and just because everybody has it, we should have it. So that part, I think a lot of us miss. We have to set an example for our children that we should not buy things that we don't require, and whatever you're not buying, definitely all that money you're saving. So that part, the expense part, has to be taken care of, especially in these times, because now there is a lot of lifestyle pressure. Like once when the child is in school or in college, we all want to maintain certain kind of lifestyle, and we end up splurging a lot. I've seen children in my own family, teenagers, left, right and center, they are just blowing money. So we need to correct that bit. That lifestyle pressure should not come, and saving of course is important. We all want our children to go to like XYZ universities in abroad, US and Canada. So if you actually want that to happen, saving has to happen right from the time you decide to have a family. At least that is what we do. And as far as investment is concerned, don't invest at places or in schemes or in assets that you don't understand, especially like the markets or maybe a lot of insurance policies. They give you like they promise you big returns, but nothing of that sort happens.
Yeah.
So that part has to be taken care of. Invest in simple instruments which are easy to understand. Don't fall for schemes that promise you big returns that might not really never come because of the way the market is operating. So yeah, that bit.
Thanks, Harsha. I think it's a big takeaway one should do around that. I'm going to move on to Millie before I take Priyanka's quote also. Millie, what I want to check with you, or what I want to hear from you, is you come from the hospitality sector. People, guests, customer, that's of prime importance, and which talks about how do you manage yourself in situations, and how do you prepare yourself to constantly stay calm, manage situations, and always have your head on your shoulders, and be hospitable as a person, as a personality. And that is what parents should pass on to them. You can further extend that also. So what is it that you can tell the parents out here that you've picked from your profession, and you feel that is something that parents should pass on to their children in a larger way?
So, Ritesh, what I feel is when I became a mother, and I always used to think, how will I do my job? And when I was at job, I used to think, how will I do my job at home? My mother simply told me something, and it very clearly, explains everything. So my mother said, I asked, how will I do when I was getting transferred from Bangalore to Bombay? And she said that, just do, basically just think about those skills and traits which you have, which makes you successful at job. You deploy those skills and traits at home. And similarly, whatever makes you happy at home, whatever things you do, deploy those skill sets, those traits at work. So when I am at home, I think, as a parent, a patient, you child teaches you patience, correct? So patience is very, very important in my job. I really need to be very calm and composed and patient, because I'm always interacting with guests. You cannot see the other side of Millie, that I'm upset. I always need to be cheerful. So, that I take it from home. And work, I'm handling 2, 3 things at the same time. So I always think that, yes, I'm doing this. I will take this back home. At home also I can do 2, 3 things. I only have to do this at work. So I think the biggest thing for me is because I'm working with and dealing with people 24/7. I think people management, how do you manage people? Of course, there will be times where you will not agree. You will have your ups and downs, but those all things, how nicely you can do it in a amicable way, without hurting anybody's sentiments. And I think kids learn all these things, that how soon you get angry or upset are you. So I
Yeah.
think people management is what I can talk about, because we deal with a lot of human beings. And um, uh, I think it's one of the very, very important part of my job. And being compassionate, sympathy, empathy, compassion, all these things makes me do my job properly, because I'm expected to do that. I'm expected to know how my guest feels. Similarly, same qualities is very, very important that you should have at home, so that you know how your family members are feeling. Not only your husband, not only your daughter, but everybody else around you. So I think, yeah, these are the qualities which I feel it's important. And as I said, that I always think about my mother, that the traits and the skill set which makes you do your job, just replicate that at home.
Wow. Dr. Priyanka, what I want to ask you is, and what the parents would like to know, that lot of parents are taking they feel they're being protective about their children by keeping them away from all the hardships of not doing certain things. अरे आप तो खुद का टॉय मत उठाओ, आप ऐसे गिर नहीं सकते हो, अरे इतनी पढ़ाई क्यों करनी है? I heard science is being dropped and is being dropped as a subject. Fair enough. I mean, our system is offering other things also. I'm saying the hardships are being taken away. You can tell all the parents out there that what are the fruits of those hardships your parents went through, you went through, and what you have experienced. Why the parents should continue to go back to the bit where hardships are okay for children, but be there with them. Just don't leave them in that hardship situation, but should be there, especially when you are becoming a doctor and you're fighting out there, and it's such a selfless profession. So your thoughts on that?
So I would say that in my profession, I feel extreme satisfaction. There are a lot of hardships, even as a child, throughout my, even say, right from junior college, where I was preparing for my entrance exams into MBBS, and then later on for my post graduation. All throughout, it was just hours and hours of study, and hardly anything else. I mean, I had all my cousins enjoying the family gatherings and all the festivals, and I was just staying at home and busy studying. So that time I felt it's like really hard. What am I doing? When am I going to enjoy? But today, when I look at it, it's like extremely satisfying. When when I feel that I'm helping someone and a patient goes home absolutely well, he thanks me, and for that patient, I am next to God, and that is a wonderful feeling. I would say that it kind of compensates for all the hours of study I have done, all the enjoyment that I have given upon. And I feel if any kid has a passion in his life, his or her life, to become a doctor, I think that kid should go ahead with it. And as parents, we should support them and try to help them out for whatever difficulties they face. And no, I don't think any profession is easy that way. If you want to become an artist and excel at it, of course you need to put in hard work.
Before we close the session, I generally like my panelists to tell us what is the first thought, and after whatever we've spoken about Kids OK Please, also your thoughts about Kids OK Please, anything that comes to your mind. Start with Harsha this time. Harsha, your thoughts on Kids OK Please. What do you think about the session, and your thoughts around Kids OK Please? If you could tell me that, and we'll take the closing part from each one. Yeah.
So yeah, the session was great. It was really good interacting with these amazing mothers. I'm relatively new to motherhood, but I got a lot of things to learn from them. And as far as Kids OK Please is concerned, great platform. I'm looking forward to taking my daughter to these museums and bank visits that we have been discussing. I think it's really interesting and important. The first-hand experience really counts. Like my first experience going to a bank with my father has helped me.
Millie, your thoughts, closing thoughts on Kids OK Please.
So I think, first of all, thank you, Ritesh. It was brilliant, for us to be here in this platform and share the platform, which I said, with most of these amazing ladies. And I think, as you told me yesterday, Ritesh, the objective of Kids OK Please, I think I must admit that I was not aware about something like this. And when I heard about Kids OK Please, the objective and what you want to do, that you want to have a kids friendly cities, I was really touched that this subject needed a lot of attention. And as parents, we all want a safe, secure environment, kids friendly environment, and I think you guys are doing a fabulous job. And as I mentioned that I am looking forward to have that app after the COVID gets over.
Yes.
So that I know which restaurant, which museum, which garden I can take my daughter. So thank you so much for this introduction, and I think you guys are doing a great job.
Swati, your closing thoughts, your parting thoughts.
Hi Ritesh, actually I thought I am going to say this, and Millie said all of them. So, I'm really glad you are doing a wonderful job, and I'm really looking forward to take my kids to the areas where Kids OK Please are having around activities. Kids are going to learn a lot and have fun with it. It's a very good initiative what you have taken. And hats off to you when you could think of that kind of step where you can do these kind of activities. And I wish you a very all the best to your this Kids OK Please to succeed, and more kids get to use this.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Captain. Dr. Priyanka, your final thoughts around this.
So I think Kids OK Please is a brilliant initiative, and till now I have seen places where kids, most of the times, they are just getting bored. The adults are enjoying, and the kids, they're just busy with their own stuff. They get bored, and then they start getting cranky, and that's when you as parents also cannot enjoy. So I feel taking kids to such places would help them enjoy stuff around them, nurture their skills, and they would enjoy, and at the same time you can enjoy as well. So I guess it's a brilliant idea, and I'm really looking forward to the app coming up. So as my daughter grows up, I can also take her to such and enjoy together.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words, and sharing your thoughts, opening up as a parent and expressing yourself. You guys have all inspired, our listeners and our patrons who are there.
Really.
and looking forward to interacting with more such parents, and have a wonderful week ahead.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It was great talking to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See you.
Harsha.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.